Tournament arcs are one of the most iconic staples when it comes to shonen anime and manga, and if it wasn't obvious to everyone before, I love tournament arcs. Being such a common trend, however, it may be possible for an outsider looking at the excitement we feel whenever one is announced for a series that we love and ask, what's so exciting about a tournament arc?
This is the match you've been waiting for, folks! Who's gonna make the first move?
A clean hit! 1 point!
Hell yeah! That's it! Unfinished.
The winner by TKO is...
It contains some of the hypest and well-loved instances to come out of anime, and as a story arc is a very simple and effective way to set up exciting moments. But while it's easy to set up, it's not always easy to pull off, and there are many things that can go wrong. Enter My Hero Academia. Being one of the hottest shonen anime to come out in recent times, My Hero Academia has taken shonen battle anime back to its roots, doing nothing revolutionary besides playing off the appeal and strengths of its genre, but refining everything to a glorious polished T. So it's no surprise that its latest attempt at a tournament arc just happens to be one of my favorite tournaments in recent times, as it does almost everything an arc like this should and does it brilliantly. So today, let's break down exactly how to pull off one of the most beloved tropes in this medium correctly. What makes a good tournament arc?
All Might, I won't let you down.
Before we get into how to do it correctly, we first need to break down why the concept of a tournament arc works so well in the first place. And this is the first thing to clear up. A tournament is a competition. Competition follows sport. The Super Bowl is a tournament arc. The World Cup is a tournament arc. Hell, the fucking Olympics is hundreds of simultaneous tournament arcs. Do people watching sporting events after hundreds of years suddenly go, yeah, I'm actually bored of the setup of these competitions? Of course not. At a core level, competition and tournaments are exciting for a spectator because you can weave in countless amounts of narratives into this structure in a very short time span. Heroes, villains, teamwork, friendships, rivalries, lineage, and of course the all-important underdog stories. Something that was basically built for the shonen battle genre, which is also why every sports anime is essentially just one massive tournament arc. Keep in mind that at its core, the highs and hypes of any tournament is something that many people experience, and pretty much anything can be turned into a competition if you're invested in the activity. So even if you don't give a fuck about sports, build up your investment in an activity and you can give a fuck about competition. So for the purpose of this video, when I say tournament, I mean a series of structured one-on-one matches. These could be a fighting match, cooking match, team sports match, even a match about drawing manga. But I will be excluding any free-for-alls and death tournaments as I feel those are something entirely different. With this in mind, let's take a look at how the structure of a tournament can play to shonen anime's best strengths if done correctly. Pre-tournament competition is the contest that happens just before the actual main tournament. Think of the first Chunin exams or the earlier Hunter exams, and in Academia's case, it's the first 2 games of the sports festival. While not exactly part of the tournament and not present in every tournament arc, I believe it can be a very useful tool for setting up the pieces needed to make the main event shine. The advantage of having a pre-tournament competition is that it can help you to set up the stakes for the main event, introduce a bunch of new characters, ground the power levels of each character, and build up hype and anticipation. Now, all this can also be achieved in one big long tournament, as Yu Yu Hakusho did with its Dark Tournament arc. But what I like about having this Pride contest is that you can get rid of a lot of the fluff needed to set up a good climax, allowing you to shorten the actual tournament so you're less likely to wear out the format of one-on-one battles with matches that people really don't care about. My Hero Academia actually has one of the shortest tournaments in shonen battle anime, but that doesn't matter because the main event itself is so densely packed with interesting and fun fights that it's constantly entertaining and never once gets boring. And that's because it manages to hit each of these 4 points before the tournament even begins. Think about how all the personal stakes are set up before the main tournament. You have the triangular rivalry between Deku, Todoroki, and Bakugo established right at the start, and Todoroki in particular, who we never saw much of previously, becomes one of the main focus of this entire arc. We are shown the backstory of why he's so driven to beat Deku without the use of his father's powers, Lida's rejection of Deku's friendship to see him as a rival, Uraraka's determination to do well so she can support her family, and this puts the pieces up for all these individual narratives to clash within the main tournament.
It's yours! Your quirk, not his!
This is the stage that's also great for introducing a bunch of new characters. See, when you start this kind of arc, it's more likely than not that your pre-established cast is not diverse enough to make for an interesting tournament completely by themselves. So new characters need to be introduced to either compete for first place or throw in a few curveballs here and there. A competition like this is a great way for the audience to familiarize themselves with a group of new characters and allow them to make an impression before the main tournament rolls in. You get rid of the need for adding in useless fodder into the main event and instead allow these characters to shine in different ways. Without having to play everyone's least favorite pointless game, guess the important characters from their character designs. It's the undercard fights in the boxing match, the supporting acts in the gig. You never play all your cards here and you're building up anticipation, but that doesn't mean there can't be great moments before the main tournament. You keep it interesting by allowing a glimpse into people's abilities without them directly competing against each other in battle, but in the activity itself. Whether they are directly or indirectly fighting in this activity, it builds up anticipation for the time that they are actually allowed to battle one another in a match.
You
What this does is allow different characters to have mini victories and defeats here and there, giving us, the audience, room to speculate. Who's more powerful than who in the end? Who are the favourites? Who are the underdogs and dark horses? It establishes a rough tier list in our minds before the tournament starts, and this is the exact setup you need, as with any real sporting event, to allow for exciting showdowns to come. Which, speaking of which,
I am not done yet!
at the end of the day, a tournament is just a format, but as a format, it allows you to do many things in a short period of time, have lots of consecutive battles at once, get the opportunity to see a lot of interesting matchups, and weaving in many individual narratives into one place. But where most tournament arcs fail to stand out is by only trying to acknowledge the first point, having many consecutive battles in a short time and thinking that that will be enough to keep the audience engaged. Action without meaning gets boring fast, and much like fight scenes, tournaments are about the psychology, telling a story through the combat, the individual ideals, reasons for fighting, and general mindsets are all good things writers will flesh out and make instantly recognizable once the tournament gets rolling. The worst tournament arcs will pit characters against each other in hopes that the action will distract from the mediocre writing, and even some of the best are littered with constant interruptions or pussy out of having a proper winner. Like every tournament arc is destined to suddenly get a huge bout of anxiety in trying to keep the audience's attention and prematurely just ejaculates the next story arc. So I'm glad to say that ironically, one thing that makes Academia's take stand out is that it's a tournament arc with minimal interruptions and an actual winner in the end. Hold on, I don't think you quite heard me correctly, so let me just try saying that again. It's a tournament arc with minimal interruptions and an actual winner in the end. See, what I can respect is that the series was confident enough to engage the audience right the way through to the end with the core elements present in its own tournament. Sure, it was shorter than many other arcs of its kind, but that's what never made it boring. Instead of having one or several episodes per match, we could get through multiple matches in a single episode, which allowed even the matches no one really cared about to be entertaining without overstaying their welcome. It's these kinds of matches where you really have a chance to play around with your matchups, because this setup is the perfect excuse to have characters face off against each other that you wouldn't normally see. Why do you think a series like Death Battle is so popular? Why are versus debates the bread and butter of any internet discussion? And why is Mayweather versus McGregor actually happening against all odds? People like speculating over hypothetical fights because, hell, it's fun! And you can settle them in your own tournament arc, importantly, without the need of setting up a real conflict between characters or properly villainizing anyone. In the 2 anime fights video I've done, I've broken down many different ways to make a fight engaging, and this is the opportunity to bring something unique with every fight. A clash of styles, a clash of personality, a clash of ideals. Even without giving everyone a unique power, there are many ways to make an interesting battle, though Academia shines through its diversity and ingenuity of everyone's different quirks. What's important here though is that there's more freedom with match outcomes if the stakes aren't high, and you can always throw in a few curveballs and upsets here and there because it's not the outcome of the match that's important, it's how the match plays out. This leads me to the real reason Academia does this arc so well, which is that the series uses the tournament arc format to build on its core themes, rather than distract from them. The series has always been about this simplistic view of heroes and villains, with each character on their own unique journey to become the hero they want to be. It's their hero's journey at stake here and nothing else. else, which is why I find it amazing that the stakes can feel so intense when at the end of the day, this is nothing more than your typical high school sports day with superpowers. The world isn't on the line, the winners don't find One Piece, losers don't get relegated to the Shadow Realm. Everything is entirely personal as we get to see everyone's individual narratives, their drives, their desires, their ambitions all clash in one place. And that's all that's really needed, as if you follow real sports, no matter who wins or loses in the end, there is always a story there. Every character has their time in the spotlight, so it's your perfect opportunity for all their personal stakes that have been set up prior to properly come to fruition. And Academia manages to do this brilliantly with its diverse and well-balanced cast. Shinso, who went through the competition with an air of mystery and malice, ended up being a sympathetic reflection of the frustrations Deku had to face when he was without a quirk. And Uraraka's very valiant attempts not only cemented her as a relatable kid trying her absolute best to make life easier for her parents, but as a character that has actual potential for strength, only just being unable to overcome the wall that is Bakugo's insane drive to prove that he's number one. But the highlight battle was without a doubt, of course, Deku versus Todoroki, which encapsulates everything My Hero Academia is about. We're going to this fight knowing Todoroki's troubled past with his father, why he's so determined to beat Deku while completely rejecting his father's power, and why that's so important knowing that Deku has a relation with All Might. Deku, on the other hand, essentially uses the entire fight to convince his opponent to stop limiting himself and just accept himself for his own being without living in the shadow of the father he so despises. Without context, that seems like a stupid thing to do. Why would you try to goad your opponent to reaching their full potential when you are more likely to lose? Which he does. But while Deku doesn't win technically, he succeeds in saving Todoroki from his own personal conflict, possibly setting him on the right path, and this is exactly in line with Deku's own hero's journey and everything that he stands for. He wants to be a superhero, a beacon of justice, and a hero isn't just a hero because they graduate from hero school or get picked up by hero organizations, but it's their actions that define the hero they want to be. From the beginning, the fight was never about who won or lost, but every punch thrown, every bone broken, every clash felt incredibly heavy, as what we are really seeing is the crash of two people's life voyage and their own values of being a hero. This goes for almost every major fight in the tournament, which goes back to what I said before. The series uses the tournament arc to build on its own themes, not distract from them. And that is what makes this fight feel so goddamn epic. It's the reason why people will remember this fight for years to come, why Rock Lee versus Gaara stunned us as kids, why Gon versus Hisoka became a modern classic, and why Yusuke versus Toguro set precedents for all tournament arcs to come. It wasn't the tournament itself, but it was what the fights represented.
I'm going to win this! I'll surpass you!
You look at any real sporting event and you see people crying, emotional, tears of despair and joy, when objectively you could say, cheer up, it's just a game, it's just a medal, it's just a piece of metal. But it isn't. It's years of your life practicing, it's your ambitions, your hopes and dreams, and though you may try again next year or in 4 years, right then and there you are caught in the moment and it feels like the world to you. And it's this feeling, this wave of emotion that My Hero Academia captures so brilliantly in its own fictional sporting event. Because once again, this series continues to play to all of Shonen's most beloved tropes absolutely right. At the end of the day, a tournament arc is just a format, a very effective format of bringing out some of the best and most exciting moments achievable in the shonen genre within such a compact time frame. But like everything else, it requires the same amount of thought and preparation to make it truly shine as with any other kind of narrative arc. Done wrong and it's just another generic excuse for bland action, but done right and it's an explosion of every possible reason you could have to be a shonen anime fan. Endless action, heroes, villains, rivalries, epic showdowns, hype that will blast you off the edge of your seat, excitement that brings you back to your childlike innocence, enough adrenaline pumping through your veins to get you through a marathon, and moments that will drop your jaw right down to the floor. Why do I love tournament arcs? Why don't I love tournament arcs? Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that video. Now before you say anything about me using the dub, you can leave your opinions right there in the corner next to the shits I don't give. Because I thought the dub for My Hero Academia was actually genuinely good. And if you want to experience it legally, I'll leave a link in the description for a 14-day free trial to Funimation Go. For those of you interested, the tournament arc shirts are still on sale and you can find them in the link below, or you can click on the button at the end of the video. And with that said, thank you very much to Thrones Melt, Jared Cattell, Gabe Brown, Vincent Mooney, Gigguk, I see what you did day with your name. Lauken, and everyone else on Patreon for helping to support me for this month and making this video possible. As you can see, I'll be back in England for the next 2 months, so I don't know how jet lagged it looked, but I will be back in America next month for Crunchyroll Expo since I am guesting there. But anyway, that's it from me. I've been Gigguk, and I'll see you all next time.